I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck and it acts like a duck, it's probably a duck.
Well, the thing is that, I've lost a lot of friends that are in that type of industry, EMTs, police officers. And I have friends that are police officers or people that I just know they're police officers and they're like, yeah, she totally didn't do it. I mean, they're not going to go on the record and say that, but, I've lost some friends. But I think the biggest thing is this. The way that I look at it, the deniers, they say there's no way that all these people could collude together to fabricate this story. There's just no way to do it. But then you look deeper and you look at all the family ties that are connected to all the people that have been involved in this case, and it goes really deep. It goes super deep. And you're even like, in my opinion too, during the trial, you're seeing like the judge, like helping the Commonwealth out and, oh, did you want to object here? Or did you want to go to sidebar? It's like, like what's going on here? And I've said this on my show, a million times. Basically, in my opinion, they need Karen Read to be the fall person for this. I mean, to be the cover. If we pin it on her, this saves essentially the Canton elite, is which we call them in their ivory tower. It saves us. We don't go to prison. Nothing happens here. But, we look at it too. I mean, there's ongoing federal investigation in this case. It's still going. So it's just a wild case, man.
Is that really what's is that really?
Yes.
It's for me, the conspiracy theory with the house and everything, that's like a bridge too far for me. I don't know these people, but to me, like if I was her defense attorney, which is Alan Jackson, Sharon, an LA guy, so that was awesome. But I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I would have just stuck with the fact that Proctor's corrupt. This is clearly, they've clearly manufactured evidence, and it proves that she didn't do this. So that's where I would focus it. I wouldn't try to make the conspiracy theory because that feels like a bridge too far.
I think
I don't know any of these people either.
Yeah,
I don't live in that community.
Yeah.
I don't know them. So
you can't ignore it. I mean, they're all former law enforcement or they're involved with law enforcement that showed up. There's family that's on the Canton Police Department. And it just all makes sense, and you look at literally the ties that bind all these people together. And it's like, you can't ignore it. You can't, I mean, it's part of the case. You just can't ignore it. It's wild. I mean, you couldn't script. It would be the wildest movie script. I mean, and
it's like The Town.
I was even listening to Rogan talk about the attempted Trump assassination. He's like, you couldn't script this. Like, it's crazy. And I'm like, no, you can't script the Karen Read case. It's just wild. It's wild. It's crazy.
One of the things that I thought was really odd there's so many things I think are odd in this, but I remember, again, only 2 months into this, but I'm thinking to myself, why didn't the Boston police, that's like their guy, right? Why didn't they get involved?
They're not going to get involved. The feds are looking. No one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that to me was a big red flag. Like, if this is their officer, why aren't they down there?
Yeah.
They like calling all cars. We're going to go see what the fuck happened.
Yeah. It's odd, isn't it? And then why was it that Jennifer McCabe, the one that made the 911 call, that got up on the stand and said, John is my friend. I love him. We love John. Well, why didn't you, when you called 911, say, Officer down, Officer John O'Keefe down? But she, my friend, Officer John O'Keefe, she says, there's a man down in the snow.
Oh, is that what it said?
Yeah.
See, I don't know any of this. You know what I mean? Again, I came halfway into the trial. It was like 5 weeks into it.
Yeah. So on the 911 call, it's a man's down in the snow. You, not like my friend that I love, not officer down, not Officer John. Like, yeah, it's wild. It's so wild, man. It's
so all these people just had ties to Canton.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so the marks on the arm, the missing shoe.
Mm-hmm.
I was and something else that I didn't, and I again, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just sort of
it's all good.
I'm again very confused about this entire thing, as I think most of the world is. Why didn't they ever look at the fire hydrant, for example. Why wasn't that swabbed or DNA or because
why wasn't there a lot of things that were done? There was no police tape put down. There was no proper evidence collection. We used solo cups. We used paper bags.
Yeah.
We used leaf blowers, you know, like.
What was that about the leaf blower thing?
It's insane. And then they say, I love this one too. We're not trained properly to contain crime scenes in a blizzard. You live and work in New England. You're going to tell me you haven't been trained in any of this process before? I mean, it's insane. We get snow here like, what, 5 months of the year? I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's why I don't live over there. Why I live in Southern California. So what do you think happened?
What do I think happened? Well, I think that Karen and John were out together, and obviously you saw Brian Higgins and Brian Albert there. I think that because we did hear about the text messages between Karen and Brian Higgins, maybe John sniffed something out about that or had some sixth sense that might have
come on, though. I mean, John's a good-looking dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No offense to not throwing shade on someone, but like Brian Higgins or John, come on, like if I were him, I would be like, you want that? You have at it, hun. Because how long were they together? They were together for a few years, right?
Yeah, I think they were. I mean, I don't really know much about their relationship too much. I know that I think they dated previous. They rekindled over Facebook. I don't know the length of time. I think maybe 2 years they were together again before this all happened. And then I think just possibly, obviously they went to drive to 34 Fairview for the after party. Maybe there was a little bit of a fight in the car or something to that effect. I think that either John went in to confront Higgins or the opposite. When John came in the house, maybe Higgins and Brian Albert got him down into the basement and there was a confrontation. Obviously there was a party going on upstairs. Something happened. The dog at some point got loose or down into the basement, and that's what happened. And then the attack and the beating happened there. And Karen left and went home. It's been proven because she went back to
she logged on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, she connected on the Wi-Fi. And so I'm glad that you said that because I was just going to say that. And unfortunately, John was dragged out of the house and left outside to die. And then Jennifer McCabe decided to go home and Google Haas Long to die in cold at 2:27 a.m. So, and then Karen woke up frantic that John did not call or reach out. Started calling multiple times and went back to 34 Fairview. And unfortunately, that's how she ended up in this situation.
And his blood alcohol content was like 0.28. He was obliterated.
Yeah.
Which
and they never proved that Karen was actually drunk through the testimony. And people even testified and said that she didn't appear drunk or intoxicated.
Well, I remember the earlier text message. She said it was like at 2:00 in the afternoon. She's like, I need a drink or whatever. So I'm not chastising anyone. I'm not, I'm only looking at it from like, as someone who quit drinking almost 4 years ago, like, hey, this shit causes a lot of problems and probably a lot of this would have been avoided. But I think she had some level of intoxication. And that was something that was, when I saw all those additional charges, I was like, God, if they try to get her on like a DUI or something, like I thought that was super suspicious on count 2, all that. I was like, come on.
I think this happened, Collier. I think when initially she was arrested, they obviously had the first 2 charges, which was manslaughter, DUI, and then the leaving a scene. And I think they probably, and I don't know, I'm just speculating here because I know how these things work. They probably went to Karen and offered her a deal.
Oh, for sure. That's why they went.
Nope. And then she just got David Yannetti to represent her. A great, high, powerful attorney here. I actually just did a show on David today. I did some highlighting of his career. He was very instrumental as the prosecutor at that time in a 1997 case of Jeffrey Curley, It was a young boy that got murdered by two ultimate cockroaches here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and then became a defense attorney. And I think that when they knew that she was going to reject the deal, they threw the second-degree murder at her and then flopped that on her and probably said, all right, you want to make a deal now? And she probably was like, nope, no. I'm going to fight this all the way because you know why? I know I'm innocent. And that takes a very powerful person to do that. And I can say, you know, I've been pretty much around Karen a lot of the court appearances. She hasn't faltered once, man. She's just chin up, ready, you know, to take whatever's going to come at her next. She has great attorneys behind her. And I'll tell you, in front of all those people and the months that I've spent down that courthouse, haven't seen her falter once. And believe me, I know she probably goes home sometimes and just lets it all out. I mean, how can you not?
How could you not?
We're human beings, you know what I mean? But just a symbol of power.